and developing them socio-economically, so that there will be Muslims that are empowered, Muslims that are empowered economically and intellectually and socially. That is leadership. So it's about planned direction. So you need to ask yourself, what is that planned direction? What is the goal of the organization? This is what management experts call overall organizational objective. So it's about the objective of the organization, not your own personal objective. So when we talk about leadership, we are talking about moving people to the direction of achieving the overall organizational objective of the society. By motivating them, so you are expected to motivate, you are expected to encourage, you are expected to persuade people towards that direction through motivating them to action. So you motivate people to work towards achieving the objective of the organization through non-compulsive means. So you are expected to seek the voluntary participation of your members. You are not expected as a leader to be a dictator. When you become the Amir of the Muslim Student Society of Nigeria or the secretary in your own college, you have not become a king. You are not a president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces who will direct people to do. No, your role is to encourage people to understand the goals of the organization and to be able to motivate them to work, not by through compulsive ways. The second definition I will take is the definition by Quram Murad, who is also one of the most inspiring people in the Muslim Students Association in the West, and of course in the Muslim world today. He also defines leadership as the ability to see beyond assumed boundaries and to come up with solutions or paths that few can visualize. There are additional points in this definition, that's why I brought it. He says it's the ability to see beyond assumed boundaries. When you are a leader, you are not expected to think the way everybody thinks. You are expected to think ahead of everybody. You are not expected to think in the ordinary way. You are expected to think extraordinary. You are not expected to act ordinarily. You are expected to act extraordinary. Let me give you an example from the perspective of action, and then I will also give an example from the perspective of thinking beyond everybody. There was a time in Medina when people were in their homes and they had a very, very big, kara in the outskirts of Medina. Come on, one day, Abu immediately, companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and everybody was, some people were scared, and so they took cover in their rooms and houses. But Abubakar, Umar, and some companions came out quickly, immediately, moving towards the direction of that big sound that they heard. As they were approaching the place, the scene of the event, they met the Prophet ﷺ coming back from that place, saying, "Go back, no problem, I have already checked and there is no problem." Do you understand this? They were the first people to arrive. They met the Prophet ﷺ coming back from the place. He had already gone there. So a leader is expected to be there before everybody. In terms of solving problem, at the very time everybody is thinking about how to solve the problem, thinking about analyzing the problem, as a leader you are expected to have already provided 85 solutions for the problem, thought of solutions. And that is why, thinking beyond everybody, I will give you also the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Khabbab ibn al-Arat radiallahu anhu, one of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, came and met the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وهو متوسد بردته في ظل الكعبة. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was resting under the shade of the Kaaba, and he was using his burda as pillow. He met him and he said to the Prophet ﷺ, complaining, he said, Ya Rasulullah, ala tad'u lana, ala tastansir lana. Ya Rasulullah, why don't you seek for Allah's intervention for our situation? We are being persecuted in Mecca. People are persecuting us. They will kill, they will maim, they will destroy our property. No rest. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khabbab, as a follower of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who believed in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who was ready to sacrifice his life and undergo all the persecutions of the enemies of Islam, yet he was thinking about today. He was just looking at the situation at the present. But the Prophet ﷺ says, Ya Khabbab, as in cool down. All that you're seeing now, the Prophet ﷺ says, لَقَدْ كَانَ, those who came before you, among the Banu Israel and others, had undergone more persecution and difficulty than the one you are witnessing today. All the difficulties you have undergone now, those who came before you had undergone this type of more than that. To the extent that a person will be brought, they will chain a person, and they will dig a hole, and they will put half of his body in the hole, and then they will bring a sword, an axe, zarto, and put on his head, cotton, suna rabawa, suna gogawa akansa zarto, fayuj'alu lisfain, until they divide him into two. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ma yasudduhum dhalika an dinillah. With all this, they didn't abandon the path of Islam. They maintained their iman. The Prophet said, وَلَكِنَّكُمْ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. As for your situation, you are in a haste. And the Prophet ﷺ now told him, I'm talking about thinking ahead as a leader. The Prophet ﷺ said, very soon, time will come when a believer like you will be so free, will have his own izzah, وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. When they will be strong, the believers will be strong, such that a person will travel min San'a ila Hadramaut, from San'a to Hadramaut. La yakhaf illa Allah. He has no fear except that of Allah. He has no fear of any persecution from anybody, because Muslims have emerged victorious and strong. La yakhaf illa Allah wal-dhiba ala ghanam. So the Prophet ﷺ was thinking not about today, that for you as an organization, as Muslims, as people of faith, you cannot have it all well today. You have to undergo some process of difficulty before you reach your target. And what is the target? Freedom, justice, strength of Islam. وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم وليبدلنهم من بعد خوفهم أمنا يعبدونني لا يشركون بي شيئا. This is the way the Prophet ﷺ was thinking beyond everybody. So thinking beyond assumed boundaries. This is what in today's world is called thinking outside the box. I hope it's clear. When you are faced with a problem, Don't think that you are solving that problem using the methods used by your forefathers. وجدنا آباءنا كذلك يفعلون وجدنا آباءنا على أمة وإنا على آثارهم مقتدون. You see people leading the Muslim Student Society of Nigeria, and when he comes as an Amir and his ESCO members, the only thing they will think of is how have the previous leaders been doing things. Yes, they used to organize lectures at the end of every month. Then we will do that. They used to, do this and that. We will do it. That is all. No. As a leader, you are expected to think outside the box. Come up with new ways of solving problems. Ask yourself questions about the impact of the programs you are making, you are organizing, you are conducting. Are the programs actually achieving their objectives? So you have to think beyond assumed boundaries. And he says leadership is about coming up with solutions that only a few people can think. So you are not expected to do like everybody. As a leader, you are expected to think and come up with new ways of solving problems. This is leadership. So from these two definitions, we have seen the question, the issue that leadership is a process, and leadership is about persuasion and encouraging people to follow you voluntarily. It's about well-defined goals and objectives, vision. And when you are to have a vision as a leader, you are expected to have what is called a smart vision. What is a smart vision? A smart vision is vision that is specific, S, is measurable, M, is achievable, A, is relevant, R, and is time-bound or time-dimension, T. That is smart. So when you come as a leader of an organization, ask yourself, check the constitution of that organization. What are the overall objectives of the organization? The Muslim Student Society of Nigeria has developed objectives and vision and mission. But then you are only leading this organization in this college for 2 years or 1 year. How do you contribute your own quota towards achieving those objectives? You are not going to achieve all the objectives within 1 year. Then you have to look at the context of your organization, your own college, and see what new things you will bring, what projects you will execute, what programs you will introduce and implement, what people do you want to involve, what resources do you require, what skills do you need to be able to deliver within this 1 year so that you will make impact in the organization, not just soldier come, soldier go, and bar events, no any change. So it's about vision, and it's about thinking outside the box. You should be like Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, who after becoming the leader will think of expanding the way things are done. He looked at the economy and he uses his own, he looked at the economy and he used his own R&I. What is R&I? Resourcefulness and initiative to be able to come up with ways of developing the economy, expanding the sources of income for the Muslim Ummah, for the Muslim state. You as a leader in this organization also ask yourself, what are the ways that MSS generates resources, and how can I, develop these sources so that we will have more resources to be able to conduct programs. What programs are we conducting? Then you ask yourself, how do we improve the performance and the impact of these programs? And then from these definitions, you will see the question of teamwork. Teamwork is about synergy, working together with others. As a leader, you are not expected to think that you have all the solutions for all the problems alone. You need to consult with your own team. وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورًا بَيْنَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. على الله. They say, ما خاب من استخار ولا ندم من استشار. You will never regret when you build your own affairs on the basis of consultation. Consultation within the leadership of the organization. There are things which you need to bring and present to the ESCO meeting before you take a decision. There are things which are quick that require immediate decision, but you still need consultation. Call your secretary if you are the Amir, seek for his own advice. You are the organizing secretary, you need to organize, not to agonize, isn't it? So when you come to organize, then you need to make contact and consultations to some of your colleagues within the ESCO, sometimes beyond that. Sometimes you consult Sheikh Google, isn't it? When you don't have an answer, you Google, you ask Sheikh Google, and Sheikh Google will give you some answers, will direct you to solutions based on when you are organizing a program, you don't know dimensions of this and that, what are the relevant topics to discuss on leadership, you can ask Sheikh Google and it can guide you and direct you to some things that will help you in doing things. Sometimes the consultation is beyond the ESCO. You need to consult your own teachers, patrons, lecturers outside. Sometimes the consultation will be that you have to consult the Gombe area unit because they have wider experience and so on and so forth. You need to do consultations. Teamwork. You know, they say to go far. He said to go fast, go alone. But to go far, go with others. That is teamwork. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, then you go with others. أن تقوموا لله مثنى وفرادا ثم تتفكروا. So it's about وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. You need to consult, you need to do teamwork. It is only through teamwork that 1 + 1 can give you 3, not 2. Through teamwork, 1 + 1 can give you 4, it can give you 5. Of course, if you are not good at teamwork, 1 + 1 can give you only 1.5, or sometimes 1 + 1 can give you 1, sometimes it gives you only 2. What do I mean by 1 + 1 can give you 3? You as a leader, you think you have a solution to the problem confronting the organization. But you are not the only one who has his perspective on how to solve the problem. Another person also has. So let's assume you and your secretary, the secretary has a way, has a solution to the problem, which is different from yours. Instead of going to implement your own one solution, you ask him to present his own one solution. So you have your one solution, he has one other solution. So you have 1 + 1 solutions, isn't it? But then you listen to your secretary, you tell him, this is the problem, Mr. Secretary, and this is the way I think the problem should be solved. The secretary says, this is a very good solution. I have never thought of this, but it is good. Only that these are the weaknesses of your own solution. But it has advantages that are 60-70, but there are 30-40 disadvantages. But the way I see it is this way. Then he presents a second solution, his own solution. When he presents, you listen attentively as a good leader. You work with the advice of him. Before we seek first to understand, then to be understood. You listen to him, and when he presents, you say, wow, this is excellent. But it has some weaknesses, even though 60-70% of it is good. Now, instead of rejecting his own completely, you take the 70% and improve. And you bring your own, you take the 70% of yours, you remove the weaknesses aspect, and you now develop a third better alternative. How many solutions do you have now? 3. You have 3 solutions. The first solution is yours. The second solution is his own. How many solutions? 1 + 1. When you marry the two, they give you a third beta solution. So 1 + 1 is equal to what? 3. In leadership, 1 + 1 can give you 3. It's only through teamwork and consultation and synergy that you can achieve this. So as a leader, this is very, very important. And that is why a leader, according to John Maxwell, one of the leading leadership experts in the world today, John Maxwell, if you have not read his works, please go and read. You look for his book, The Power of Thinking Big. and the power of leadership. And then we also look for his book, 360-degree leader. A leader, a 360-degree leader, he says, is someone who can lead an organization from everywhere within the organization. He doesn't need to be the overall leader, but he can have influence even though he is a messenger. He says a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So these are the three things of a leader. A leader is the one who knows the way. So as a leader, you have taken your time to make yourself aware of the problems and the solutions. You know the objectives of the organization and where the organization wants to get to. You know the way. But he goes the way. So you go the way. You know the way and you go the way. In other words, you try to act towards achieving the objectives through programs, through projects, through conduct of meetings and so on, through different effective activities. And then shows the way. In other words, you show the way. So you also guide others to the process of leading people to a planned direction according to Shabbatani. So leadership is about showing them the way, and that is what is called shared vision. You share the goals and the vision of the organization with all members so that every member will know what you want to do, what you are planning, and what you are doing. You give reports, you update members. Not that you are a leader of MSS and they don't hear about the finances of the organization. No. A good leader will be transparent. You will tell them we are planning to do this and we are trying to involve this and that. We have generated 200,000 naira resources for the activities of the organization from the registrations of MSS members in the college. The school has remitted the amount into our account, and so far we have spent 30,000 naira on this. Everybody should know that is leadership. You carry them along. They are telling me I have only 3 minutes, but that is good also. So in MSS, there are experiences some of us have. Most of those who lead the organization want to do wajadna aba'ana ala ummah. This is how we have found people doing it, and they don't try to know the way and go the way and show the way in a different manner. They try to go the way of Mr. Ordinary. There are problems in the Muslim student society, and take this as my solutions to the problems. I will explain them, and then take the opposite of them as what is expected of you as leaders of the Muslim student society. In the last 12 years, actually 13, 14, 15 years, I have personally interacted with leadership of Muslim student society across Nigeria. And some of the problems I have seen are summarized in some of these points. Number one, there is a dwindling intellectualism in the MSS. In other words, MSS is taken over by intellectual shallowness. You see leaders of MSS, when they stand up to speak, someone who is in the higher institution is a leader because he doesn't read. When he speaks, you wonder whether this man even knows what he is doing. Because he don't read. And someone has said it that, John Maxwell, he says, all powerful leaders are readers. If you want to lead, you have to read. He says, today a reader, tomorrow a leader. So if you are not someone who reads, when I say reader, I don't mean reading for examination. How many pages have you read about leadership? How many books have you read about leadership? Have you read the works of Brian Tracy, the works of John Maxwell, the works of Stephen Covey on leadership, principle-centered leadership by Stephen Covey? Have you read these types of books? How many motivational books have you read about public speaking so that you know how to handle microphone and speak before people? How many books have you read about human relations? How many books have you read about personal development? How many books have you read about communication? How many books have you read about correcting your own English? So that when you stand before people, you will not be doing topsy while speaking English. At least unforgivable topsies. There are forgivable ones, with due respect to the chairman. Isn't it? You see someone who is in MSS, you bring a problem, he adds, instead of bringing solution, he adds to the problem with more and more problems. Intellectual shallowness. And also, you don't see them having knowledge of Islam. They don't read about Islam. And Amir of MSS doesn't know what are the Islamic teachings about leadership. He has not read the book of Hisham al-Malik, Training Guide for Islamic Workers. He has not read Leadership and Islamic Perspective by Professor Rafiq Bikum. And you know what is the name of the other professor that they co-authored the book. He has not read any book on management. And you want to manage an organization. You have not read any book on leadership and about Islam. So that intellectual shallowness, they see Islam from a narrow perspective. When they talk about Islam, they only talk about dress, they talk about this, but issues that have to do with our own development as Muslims, they don't know them because of their intellectual shallowness. You also see the atomization of Islam. Islam is being reduced to rituals. Rather than you leading the Muslims to see Islam as a comprehensive religion that it is, as a universal religion that it is, as a multidimensional religion that takes care of their social, economic, political, and all aspects of life, you see MSS battling about Jalsatul Istiraha, battling about things that are even within the teachings of Islam, they belong to things that are subject to disagreement, ijtihad. In MSS, we carry every Muslim along, so long as he believes in the objective of the Muslim student society, and that is Islam as a religion, Quran as our own basic, the primary source of Sharia, and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He respects the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.